make sure our audio is working. All right, testing sound. Just testing the sound. All right, I think we're good to go. We are unboxing a RadMini Step-Thru 2 today. It is not mine. It's my mother-in-law's boyfriend. So we're gonna, and I have not ridden a RadMini before. So it'll be kind of fun. Sound is good. Let's unbox this thing. So the Rad, or like everyone knows right now, when you order a Rad and pretty much any other electric bike, that it takes a long time to arrive. But this one came early. It was slated to be shipped in September, and it came last week?
Yeah.
Last week?
Yeah. No, this week.
Yeah,
last week. Last week.
All right. I think Allie's in there. I could use her assistance. All right, Allie, can you come out here?
I'll give you a hand if you want.
Well, it might, I mean, we'll see.
Stronger on me, or?
Well,
Ooh, different color seats.
more that it's not the box. It might be a little too high, but we'll just lift it up. Straight up. There it is.
Woohoo!
All right. And
Oh, that's the.
yep, you can
No,
take
that's
that.
the handlebars.
You can take the box out.
Oh, it's got a.
You can pop that up if you want.
Yeah, it's more my size.
Yeah. Well, wait till you get this open. So, what I like, the reason I kind of recommended this bike is because, one, the Step-Thru, and then two, it is kind of a little bit smaller-ish compared to some of the other bikes that they offer. All right, so I'm gonna undo the.
I would have brought my rack with me, but I forgot. It was in the storage already. I fear it can't be that hard.
Yeah, or you can give it to Fred. He can open it, pop it open, because I'll need some of that stuff.
You can open these.
All right, so the first thing, I just watched the video from Rad. Got to put the handlebars up, and then, and then we'll put the handlebars actually on. So for those of you just joining, this is not my e-bike, but I am assembling it, and I am not a professional. We'll actually be assembling a bunch of bikes in the next 2 months or so. We got the Rad Wagon 4. My brother ordered that, so I'm really excited to do some really in-depth videos on that. I'll probably try to take some riding footage with the Mini while I have it today, just to test it out. Won't be able to talk too much in detail about it, but and if you have, as always, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Ooh. So I've never seen one of these in person, and I have to say,
that looks awesome.
the white paint job really looks nice with the orange.
And this they have an orange
Oh yeah.
carrier.
So he ordered
Oh,
the orange rear rack with it, which came probably a month before the bike or so.
more than that.
There's, I think, one more zip tie that I'm missing here. Always recommend, if you're assembling an e-bike, like a little pair of snippers like this are really handy. I've used these a lot. Great for removing zip ties. Alright, so this is the first step. And I think this just locks like that. I think the next step was the handlebars. So
Here's the hardware.
kind of like my last video I did, I'm going to be using some, so they give you a bunch of tools, but I'm going to be using some from
Must be what this is.
Pro Bike Tool, which has sent me some great tools to check out. Alright, so they give you a separate bag, that's kind of nice, and it's labeled handlebar, faceplate hardware, 4 bolts, 4 split washers, 5mm, and then Allen wrench, torque to 10mm. And I actually do have a torque wrench now, which is kind of cool. I won't be doing it on this video, it'll just take kind of up too much time, but I will do it after the fact because I just want to better understand some of the torque settings and stuff. But a lot of people say it's not necessary, they tell you to do it. It is a really nice day in Wisconsin, which is why we're doing this outside instead of in the garage. So get the handlebars on, and then we'll do the front tire, and then the fenders, and I think that's actually pretty much it. And I do also like the brown seat. That looks nice as well.
That is sharp.
So the other thing that I'm curious about, so if you watched my last unboxing, I did the new X class that we have. That also has 20-inch tires, and so we passed 100 miles on that bike, and we've had it since last week, Thursday. And just one thing that I'm noting here, these tires are definitely these are not street tires like the X class. So these are going to provide a little bit more grip for some off-road. Just going to set off the tire to the side. Of course, you can put on any tires you want. The battery already comes installed, so that's nice. Alright, so I'm just going to spin the fork around because this always goes in the front. And then the brakes on the left side. And then, we also have to install the front light. And I'm going to try to orient this correctly. So the pedal assist comes on the left. I think these cords are just...
Zip tie that thing right there. Yeah.
Let's see. I think
Is there another zip tie down there?
I just have to want to make sure this is
You want help?
I think I'm good. sure the brake lever I think this is wrapped around. I'm not sure exactly.
That short cable looks like it's wrapped into something.
Yeah, it almost seems like this cable needs to be on the other side. I wouldn't think I'd go around the other way. That wouldn't be good. Let's see here. It's this cable here. I mean, obviously this lowers, but
So it should be there.
that looks right, but the brake cable comes on around it, which is interesting. Let's see. These other ones all.
That's weird.
Unless I turn the fork, maybe it needs to be turned the other way. If you want to just hold the.
Yeah.
Let's just see here.
Go all the way around.
Yeah, that might have been my
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
There we go. So you got to turn the fork. I had it the correct way, but it needed to be rotated the opposite direction. So now we're good to install this using the handlebar faceplate. And this is the right size. There we go. I got it.
Oh, it's different.
Yeah, and we can make adjustments after we get it sorted. So again, if you're just tuning in, let me know if you have any questions, or if you're waiting for an electric bike, I'd love to hear what you're waiting for. Or if you already have one, that's great. So I'm just gonna get these faceplate bolts in, and then we'll make slight adjustments after kind of we do the video and make sure it's comfortable. And I did lower the handlebar as far as it would go, just to make it a little bit easier to install. I really like the pink color though on this. The other, so the reason, I talked I think a little bit about this, but the other reason that I really like the Step-Thru is the bottle cage mount. It's like right in front of you, so that is a big bonus, I think. And I'm just using a like a Y wrench. This thing is really handy. It's nice having different, like whether it's a multi-tool or something like this, it's just nice to have many different options. I've also been using this mini ratchet, which I found is quite nice as well. I do believe we'll be using our old battery just because it's already charged, and we'll be following the instructions. One of the things that make sure that if you are receiving really any e-bike is really read the instructions, because they talk about really important details related to the battery and how long it should be charged for right off when you get it, how to optimize it so you kind of get the full, I know with Rad they estimate 800 charges, so you know the battery is such an important part of the bike, and it's an expensive part. I believe Rad sells replacement batteries for $550, so you want to make sure that you take care of it. Oh, hi Joe. Our friend from the Netherlands. And I didn't see, doesn't look like there's any damage to the bike. The packaging was really great. There was just some like minor damage to the bottom of the bike, just like where it was sitting, but they've obviously spent a lot of time. Last time I assembled a Rad was earlier this year when I tested out the Rad Rover Step-Thru, which was quite a bit of fun. Alright, so those are tight enough for now. And I think we can do the tire in just a second. So you have to, it comes on this plate here. Maybe I'll tilt the camera down just a little bit. Get some of these zip ties out of the way. And then a lot of people also ask me, oh, should I get a RadMini or if they're considering the Rad Runner Plus, which in my opinion, unless you need the cargo capacity, I do prefer this given the price point. This is $1,500, and the great thing is this has the front suspension, 7-speed, and then you can buy the rear rack if you want to. Alright, so now it's just a quick release down here, and you just unscrew that. And I'll pull the disc protector off the wheel. You always want to be careful not to touch the disc. Don't want to get oil from your hands on it. That just pops off. Now I'm going to lift up the fork. We're going to put the skewer, the disc through, and then the skewer locking bolt goes on this side. I got to take this protector off as well. Actually, I can unscrew that all the way. Put that through the wheel. And I know Rad always says that, or in their videos, when you press the skewer close, it should make an imprint on your hand. So that's kind of a good guide of how tight it should be. And obviously that's something you should check every once in a while, just a safety thing, because obviously if you lose your front tire, that's not going to be very safe. And so the main thing here is just to make sure that you get the disc in between the brakes. So it looks like this disc brake pad right here, this adjustment is really far in, and that is kind of preventing me from getting it in. So I'll loosen this up, and then once I get it in and I start adjusting the brakes later today, I'll make sure that it's tight enough. There we go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just hold it so it doesn't tip on.
And then when you put this, when you clamp this, again, make sure it makes an imprint on your hand, and then I always like to just put it up out of the way. Alright, so that's that. Yeah, I think that's right.
Oh, is this supposed to be just
No, because these bolts are lined up here,
oh, okay.
and those bolts are lined up there. And then this
Oh.
is the, when you fold the bike, this folds completely down and out of the way.
Oh.
And then they do want you to tighten these up as well. So. And we have the pedals to put on still, and the light, and the fender. I do like that Rad has the kind of dual side chain guard. That's really nice. I wish that was standard kind of across all electric bikes, but. And we got the front fender here packaged on the right side. Thanks, Finrad. Greetings from Finland. Wow. Thanks for watching. I just figured, so the one thing is my last live stream with the X class, I wasn't able to get it to live stream with my GoPro, so that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to test this out today. I finally got it working. It was a bit frustrating, but so that's great. And I did a video over the weekend on the X class, and that was tons of fun, but the live streaming using my phone, just the quality wasn't quite as good. And the GoPro audio, I mean, we're outside now, it's not a whole lot of wind, so it should sound a little bit better. In a second, we'll get this kickstand down so I don't have to hold it. We passed 3,600 miles on our RadWagon over the weekend. That's the 2018 that we own. So we definitely really like Rad power bikes. It's one of the reasons that I do a lot of content about Rad. Alright, so we got the kickstand up. Just one thing to note on the kickstand, it is further back. It's out of the way of the pedals, which is great. More companies are moving towards that, even if like their first generation bike doesn't have that. It seems like they always, like for instance Ride One Up, I know that they're doing that on at least the Limited, which I reviewed back in June. Okay, so I think we are ready for, let's see, let's do the pedals next. Do you have the pedals, Fred?
Oh, on the table.
Oh, perfect. Alright, so these should be marked nice and easy. It's maybe hard to see, but there's an R there, so you know it's the right side pedals. This is going to be standard threaded, so righty-tighty.
Okay, we'll see.
And then on the left side, it's opposite threaded, so then you turn it left. And if I have a... I know that Rad gives wrenches, or has wrenches, but I also have these ones from, these are just like flat, cheaper ones from Park Tool. And what's nice is they're really compact if you ever need to bring them anywhere. So get that nice and tight. I do not have a true pedal wrench yet. And then, let's see. Yeah, so you push these in and then they fold. So they get a little bit out of the way. If it were me and I wasn't going to be using the folding functionality of this bike, which I feel like a lot of people considering this bike or looking at it, they're actually maybe dissuaded by the you know, the fact that it folds. They view that as kind of a negative. Well, I'm never going to fold it. But just because you're buying this bike, I mean, there's tons of people that buy this bike and they never fold it. So I think it's just something to keep in mind. It's just nice to have that feature if you ever need it. Great. Also, I noticed in the Rad Power Bikes video on this, they say that the threads for the pedals are actually pre-greased, so I didn't put any on. Just makes it a lot easier if you're ever going to replace them. I do have to say, so all the other Rad Power Bikes, they come with, I don't know if these are Walgo pedals. These are Walgo pedals as well, but these aren't the ones that come on the non-folding bikes, obviously. But I do have to say, if you want a little bit more stability on the pedals, it's nicer to have a bigger platform and then having some pedals that have a little bit more grips. I've been really enjoying. Hafni sent me some, but there's tons of other brands. It's just personal preference. Okay, I think we're ready for the front fender and the light. This is the upgraded light that they did for 2020. I'm familiar with this, has some side visibility. If you're curious, I also did a video on the Rad Power Bikes premium headlight. I think the general consensus from a lot of other people is that it's kind of underpowered for it being like a premium headlight. This is the headlight that comes on the standard on the Rad Runner Plus. Alright, so insert it from the back if I remember correctly from the video, and then it comes up in front, and then let's see, there's 2 washers here, so I think we do, I could be wrong, but I think we do 1 washer and then maybe the light. And then if you're not aware already of kind of what I do besides e-bike escape, I have the Rad Owners forum, radowners.com, and just like any other forum, if you're familiar, just a community of folks, lots of questions, lots of people willing to help you if you have questions. I spend a lot of time there. It seems like it's taking up more of my time because there's so many people on the forum these days, which is great because there is a Facebook group. I'm sure if you have a Rad, you're probably aware of it. But the problem with the Facebook group is the search functionality is really not great. And obviously a forum that is open to the web can be indexed by Google. So that's kind of why I created it, and it makes it easier to search for things. We try to keep down on like repeat topics and stuff. I can just direct people to a different thread if they've already seen it. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm monitoring the comments as I'm putting this bike together. I'm really excited to test this out. Never been on a bike like this with, like, that's a little bit smaller, that I haven't checked out the Step-Thru. So, let's see, this is a perfect example. So, I have this mini ratchet from Pro Bike Tool. I'll give a close-up of it. This thing has come in handy already so many times. Has all the sizes you need. It should. Alright, so this is a tool I wasn't really aware that even existed. It's just a mini ratchet. What's nice, it gets in very tight spaces, really easy for tightening Allen bolts. Pretty handy. And it is perfect for this situation right here. So now we'll adjust, and kind of want it slightly tilted down. You don't want to blind any oncoming traffic with your light. So I was talking about the premium headlight a little bit. I think it's not the best light. It does provide more visibility, but it's really a like, it's not a wide angle light really. So in my opinion, if you want something that's going to provide better visibility, you're just better off buying a third-party one that goes on the handlebars. But it looks cool, and I don't know, maybe other people have different thoughts. But okay, so this light is tight enough for now. I might tweak it a little bit, and then obviously with all these pins, you just want to make sure that when you're pushing them together, there's arrows on most of these connectors, and so you just line those arrows up and push it together, just like that. All right, and then we have the fenders. And I think there's separate screws for those. So they give you a nice bag labeled Fender mounting hardware. And again, let's see. These should be pretty easy to install. What I'm also interested to see is, so typically Rad in November, Black Friday, they typically clear out their previous year's models. And so now I feel like it's kind of getting close, depending on where you live. If you order now, I mean, I don't know what the shipping dates are out currently, but it's kind of one of those things, do you wait till November? But again, with the e-bike kind of craziness going on recently, I I don't know if Rad will do maybe they'll have like a little bit of a discount. That wouldn't surprise me, but I mean, they can't keep these stock, nor can pretty much any other reputable electric bike company, so. These are just plastic fenders. They get the job done. That was one of the big changes for 2020 was Rad including fenders and everything, so you didn't have to order them separately. And then there was always the problem of, well, you ordered a bike and then the fenders aren't available, which can be frustrating. That solves that problem. And we need to do the rear fenders here, and then I think that's pretty much it. So if anyone has any questions before we go here shortly, let me know. I would love to hear what e-bike you're waiting for, what you already own. And then these fenders go in the furthest back mounting point on the rear. And I mentioned it earlier, but I will be doing hopefully a live stream when we unbox a Rad Wagon 4, which I'm super excited for since we just love our 2018 Rad Wagon. And I'll do a few videos at least on the Rad Wagon 4. I'll probably do an accessory video because the Rad Wagon is kind of all about being a super versatile bike. Passengers, lots of different accessories, bags. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then I have 2 other bikes from Ride One upcoming in the next month and a half or so. So what I'm gonna do after I kind of end the live stream is I'm gonna first make sure everything's tightened that I did do, and then I will check the brakes, make sure there's no rubbing, and adjust if necessary. The brakes are probably the most frustrating thing to adjust on pretty much, I mean, from my experience on the Rad Wagon, it's just really hard to get some of these mechanical disc brakes perfect. And so the idea is when you do adjust them, you loosen the bolts, hold the brake, and then you tighten it while you're still holding the brakes, and that should center the pad. Now that doesn't always happen, but one of the nice things is about now with most of Rad's bikes that use the wider Bafang motor, even the Rad Wagon 4, you can actually access the other adjustment pad on the disc brake, so you can put that in or out. So that should potentially save a little bit of time when I'm adjusting these. So I'll look at the brakes, make sure those are all good. I think we'll charge the battery up. I believe the first time they recommend putting it in for a little bit longer to rebalance the cells, but check the manual. And then I will look at the derailleur and make sure that that is properly adjusted. Typically, in my experience, you don't have to make a ton of adjustments to that, but there's like a rear barrel adjuster on the back of here, and sometimes you can just tweak that a little bit, and that does the trick.
You got a question?
If you have another Rad key, can you see if the key still works on the battery, or did they fix that issue? So my understanding is Rad uses like a number of different keys, and they're kind of like randomized. But the problem is, if you're familiar, the blank Honda keys work on the batteries, and I don't think that's changed. So what I always say to people when it comes to security with your battery, always bring it in if you're worried at all. I mean, we have a key here, we can try it. I don't think it will work, unless it happens to be like the same key code or whatever. So on the RadMini, you obviously need to take out the seat. So yeah, this key doesn't work. But again, yeah, again, the blank Honda keys are well reported that those work. So I don't view the batteries as being secure. So, you know, make sure that just take it in with you if you're at all worried. One of the cool things though about the RadMini is because the seat kind of blocks it here, if you have the seat down, you can change this out for a like a bolted seat, so, or like a bolted, instead of having a quick release, it basically bolted on. There's a company, I can't remember the name, but then that would make it harder. Obviously they'd have to take off the seat or figure out how to do that in order to remove the battery. So maybe just a quick tip. Yep, brakes need the most maintenance. Yep, totally agree. Beyond that, these are great e-bikes. I love Rad. I mean, they have all the accessories, the front basket. We're going to put a rear rack on this, the integrated light. I mean, for $1,500, you can't go wrong. Plus, there's really an interesting post from Mike Radenbaugh, one of the co-founders of Rad. Like, he talked about how they've increased, I think it was like 100 customer support people added to their team since like the pandemic. So I mean, as far as customer support goes, that's why I really recommend this company, unless kind of maybe if you're a little bit more mechanically inclined and you're not afraid to do things on your own bike. Of course, there's other options that I do like, but for other people that really want the support of Rad, or you know, then they're a great option. It's hard to argue when you're purchasing from the largest seller of e-bikes in North America. So I'll be curious what they have coming out for 2021. And then the other thing that I didn't really talk about, the suspension has a lockout, so that's kind of cool, some adjustability there. So that feels really nice. And yeah, I'll let the plane go by. All right, if there's not any other questions, we'll see you on the next video. We'll try to take my GoPro out and get some 360 footage with this. Probably be a shorter video compared to what I normally do. I gotta let the actual owner ride this bike. So thanks again for watching, everyone, and we'll see you in the next video.
Cool.
All done.